Hi guys, this is Gia. Thanks so much for being with me. I wanted to share with you one of my favorite techniques for prioritizing and upgrading my to-do list that I use actually every week, and that I borrowed from Martha Beck, who's one of the best life coaches of all time. If you haven't read her book, Finding Your North Star, I recommend it to all of my clients. And this is a technique that she calls bag it, barter it, better it. And it's truly based on the premise that if we slowly over time move closer and closer to the things that give us joy and start to eliminate the things that we hate that are in violation of our essential self, we will find ourselves living the life of our dreams. And that has been very true for me over time. And what's so great about this method is it really helps you look at just the small changes you can make on a weekly basis to be bringing in a little bit more joy, to be finding yourself doing tasks that you love as opposed to tasks that you hate. It's a very practical method for getting to that dream scenario. Martha uses the metaphor of trim tabs, which is basically, if you imagine an ocean liner trying to change directions, the trim tabs are the tiny little pieces on the rudder that help move the ship just in these incremental, tiny, tiny shifts. It's very hard to change the direction of an ocean liner all at once, but when you start to make these incremental shifts, you can find yourself living the life of your dreams actually very quickly. This is one key to do it, and it's just using your everyday to-do list and just up leveling it a little bit. So all you need to do this is to have your regular notepad, notebook, whatever you use to track your weekly activity. And keep in mind, this can be done on a daily basis. This can be done over a monthly basis, whatever time frame is useful for you. I like to do this Monday morning, first thing. I look at my entire calendar and I just really track. I make my regular to-do list, and then I start to evaluate what can be bagged, what can be bartered, and what can be bettered. So to start off, right at the heading, you can write your to-do list name, bag it, better it, barter it, and then you can add the date there if you like. What I'm going to ask of you is just to track everything that you have on your calendar for this week, for example, that would fall on your regular to-do list, and add things that are fun things, not so fun things, things like going to and from work, things like meetings you have to do, picking up your kids, happy hours, networking, personal care, really anything that would normally fall on your to-do list. I'll give you mine as an example. This is the week that I just filled out, as it is Monday. You can see on there I've got everything from exercising to commuting back and forth to phone calls I have to make and staff meetings. So go ahead and write your own to-do list. I like to have it be just about as detailed as a single sheet of paper. All those major blocks, I usually look at my calendar and just kind of fill the 3 or 4 things a day that are major to-do lists. And I'll give you a second to just do that. Go ahead and pause the video now. So hopefully this is all pretty basic so far. So the next step is going to be rating every single one of your to-do list activities based on a scale of how much you want to do it versus how little you want to do it. And this is a scale that's based on your body. Again, this is Martha Beck wisdom, that our body is actually closer to our essential self and our inner wisdom that knows where your North Star is, what you actually want to be doing with your life. And when you're in full resonance with what your body finds delicious and joyful and fun and easy, you are living into the fullest and best version of you. So the scale actually goes from a positive 10, which is the most pleasurable thing you can imagine. Your body just delights at the idea of it, to a negative 10, which is something that just tears you apart. You absolutely abhor, feels toxic to your body. So you can go ahead and rate each one of your to-do list items based on that scale. I'll show you what mine looks like. I've got +4s and -5s and +5s, everything in there from going to the dentist, which I absolutely hate, but only really gets about a -6, to, having dinner with a friend that I haven't seen for a while, which gets a +6. So you can really just check in with your body. You don't need to spend a ton of time with this. Just go down the list and kind of give it your back of the envelope scale based on where your body is and how much joy or how much revulsion the task creates in you. So just pause the video and go ahead and do that for a second. Okay, hopefully that was okay. Next step, this is where things get really interesting. You get to choose for each of your to-do items, what you're going to do with them, if you're going to bag them, better them, or barter them. And that's the idea that everything on your list can be improved some way, bettered, it can be bagged, or it can be bartered. And bagging really means you're just not going to do something. And sometimes this feels kind of controversial at first. The truth is, besides death and taxes, there's really nothing that we have to do. Now, you may say, whoa, 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 I absolutely have to pick up my daughter from soccer practice. I absolutely have to get that memo in for my boss on time. The truth is, there's consequences for everything, but nothing has to be done. You get to evaluate if it's something that really, 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 really is important to you, then maybe there's a way to better it. Or can you just say, screw it, I'm not going to do it this time? The third option is bartering, which essentially means who can you trade or pay to do this service for you? Is there someone that doesn't mind doing this that you could do something else for them instead? A great example of that is if you hate taking out the trash, maybe your spouse will take out the trash in exchange for a foot massage. If you hate going to the pharmacy, maybe you can pay Amazon Prime to deliver what you need to your house. You get the idea. So these three terms are really, really key. And the idea is that there's no task that can't be bettered, even if you have some tasks that you're super looking forward to that sound delicious to your body. You can even find ways to add some better experience to those. And a lot of this has to do with treats, with rewarding yourself, with helping on liberal doses of whatever you love to improve an experience. So this really flexes into some of those great coaching skills of self-honoring, self-recognition, the ability to say no, to bag something, and the ability to ask for what you need from others, the bartering. So I'll show you what my list looks like, and then I'm going to ask you to write next to each of yours whether you're going to bag, barter, or better, and the idea next to it, which you can get very creative on this. So for example, some of mine, I have, for yoga, I'm going to mix it up and take some different classes. For the car wash, I'm going to go ahead and ask somebody else to get my car washed in exchange for service for them. For things like dinner, I know I love Mexican food above all else, so that's where we're going to do to try and get that score up a little bit. For things like staff meetings or phone calls that I want to make, I'm going to go ahead and bag those. I'm going to say that those are not important. I can go ahead and cancel it. This is a lot about you having dialogue with yourself, and you will learn over time what those things are that are consistently scoring low for you on your weekly to-do lists. And can you actually get rid of them? Can you ask somebody else to do them for you? Can you find a way to improve them significantly? I have learned about myself that any meetings that happen indoors, I do not like as much as meetings that happen outdoors. Meetings that happen with food for me are always preferable to meetings that don't happen with food. So these are the kinds of tips and tricks you can really get creative. So I'm going to go ahead and ask you to pause the video again, right next to your to-do list, whether you're bagging, bartering, or bettering, and then what you're going to do, the first creative ideas that you can come up with that will help with each of those, your action steps, basically. So go ahead and pause it, give it a try. How'd that go? Hopefully it wasn't too painful. That's pretty much it. That's your to-do list, bagged, bartered, and bettered. The interesting thing about this exercise is really over time you get to know yourself better about what are the things that bring you joy consistently, what are the things that are commonly rating in the 8s, 9s, plus categories, what are the things that commonly rate in the negatives, the high negatives. Ideally, you're looking at a list on a daily basis after doing this exercise for a few months that you're just seeing a lot of pluses in every category. Now, those can be bettered as well. Just because you have plus 8s and plus 9s, you can always continue to get those scores up. But you really should be looking that you're moving yourself away from a lot of negative scores, which are just your body and your intuition and your life's way of saying, I don't want to be doing these things. Move me away from them. And again, strong encouragement. There's almost nothing you can't bag. You can often ask others in your life to trade, to barter, to pay to have something done. Or if nothing else fails, go ahead and better it. Treat yourself, you deserve it. Add a little something extra special for doing something you don't want to do if it doesn't feel right to bag it. And just see how your life starts to shift and that ocean liner of your best life starts to move you in the direction that you know you can go. Any questions, let me know. I'm always happy to hear about your list. If you want to send on the JPEG, send it on via email at gia@giastorms.com. And happy bagging, bartering, and bettering.